tried to share my screen, but it said the host has disabled. So you might have to let me share real fast and then we'll get going.
Did that work, Devin? Or?
Yep, that worked.
Okay.
We are. One second. All right, I think we're good to go. Ben, you want to take it away?
Yeah. Hey, Dev.
Is it backwards?
Yeah, it's backwards. Get the.
Okay. Sorry, one sec. Better, worse?
No, you're still on like PowerPoint. You gotta switch it to get to the presentation view.
Try one more time.
There you go.
There we go. Yep. All right.
Good to go. Awesome. Well, all right. Yeah, we y'all, first of all, happy to be here. Super excited to share some of this stuff, as Terrence kind of said. So first and foremost, my name is Ben Dillard. I'm a market development manager with E J Gallo Winery, and just want to kind of walk through a little bit of the agenda for today. Obviously, a little bit of a late night, but we want to be as concise, efficient as possible with some of the stuff we're talking about today. So as you see, networking 101 is what we've got on the screen, but we're really going to give a little bit of all the cliche stuff that any company would talk through with kind of the culture, what we're looking for from, future candidates and all those things, as well as kind of prepare for interviews. So we'll see some of the networking, specifically virtual networking, and then we'll move some of that into some of the interview process as well. So Debbie, you want to hit the next one? So a little bit more about me. So I graduated from Arkansas Little Rock in 2015. I played basketball there for 4 years. Just over 5.5 years now with Gallo or distributor partners selling Gallo brands. And during that time, I've held a role as a sales representative, district sales manager, division manager, and my current role is a market development manager. And so I've got my QR code for LinkedIn. You'll see these throughout the presentation as Chandler and Devin present as well, but we'll also have these at the end of the presentation as well for you guys to connect. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Chandler.
Hey everyone, my name's Chandler Jordan, and I actually am a TCU alum. I graduated from TCU in 2020. I can't believe it's already been there at TCU for all 4 years. And since I graduated from TCU, I have been with the distributor and E J Gallo Winery for about 4 years. And in those 4 years, I've held 4 different positions. Imagine that. So I was a sales representative, a district sales manager, a regional sales manager, and then most recently, I am the on-premise market development manager for E J Gallo. So just a little bit about me, and feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I would love to get connected. I will pass it over to Devin.
When I'm sharing, my goodness, sorry, I should have unhooked from my 3 screens. We work from home now, so I have all these screens, and then whenever I go to share it, it always shares the wrong thing. So my name's Devin. I graduated from the University of Oregon back in 2013. I was a gymnast there, and I've been with the distributor at E J Gallo Winery now for 7.5 years. I've been a sales rep, a DSM, a business manager, area manager, fine wine business manager, development manager, and now I am retail business development manager. So I work here with Ben in Dallas and cover half of Texas for our retail brands. And there's my code for LinkedIn. So as we're going to talk about today, networking is important. So when you guys get these opportunities, make the connection, add us on LinkedIn. Maybe you'll want to reach out to us, or maybe you'll want to see something that we're sharing, right? That's how we're building our network. So we're opening the doors up for you guys today. So with that being said too, this is another QR code. This is where we keep all of our information of anyone who is interested in talking with us in the future. It gives us your phone number, email address, anything else that you'd want to send our way. And it goes right directly into our system. So later, if we have questions, it's all in one place, and Ben, Chandler, and I can see everything. So if you want to, we'll put this again at the end. So if you guys are like, you're crazy people right now, maybe we'll change your minds by the end. But if not, no feelings. You won't hurt our feelings. So where do we work, right? You saw we work for E J Gallo Winery. You guys get a fantastic opportunity here with TCU and Terrence to hear from a lot of employers. So what exactly do we do, right? Do we just sit around and drink wine all day? Sometimes, but we do a lot of other things too. So 1 of 3 bottles of wine in the United States is a Gallo wine. So if you do drink wine, or maybe your parents drink wine, or maybe you're just in grocery stores sometimes and you see wine, we sell things like Barefoot Wines, Apothic, New Amsterdam Vodka, Pink Whitney, partnered with the NHL, and Spit and Chicklets. If you guys follow along with Barstool Sports, you've probably seen High Noon. High Noon is one of our brands. So 1 of 3 bottles of wine right now in the US is a Gallo wine. So we have a lot of cool brands in our pocket. We are a family-owned company. So Joe Gallo, this is our CEO, has been in the family for a long time. And the culture we've created was one where you strive for perfection and you can never be satisfied. I love this quote, especially when we're talking with student athletes, because you guys are in that right now, right? You're like the high point of your careers and you're constantly trying to just get a little bit better, right? And even when you get a little bit better, you're like, okay, I'm not quite satisfied. I got good, but I want to get a little bit better, or I want to try this, or I want to get better at this. So I love this quote, and I think it's a great representation of where we are. So we are really a value-based company. And if you talk to anybody, they'll say one of their favorite things about the company is usually one of these 6 things: integrity, innovation, commitment, respect, humility, and teamwork. The reason we're putting up these right now, 1 is so you know a little bit about us, but 2, when you guys are looking for companies that you want to talk to, take a look at their values. You want to know what their values are. It's a great conversation starter as you guys start networking. It's a great place to go. Like, I saw you guys value this. Can you give me an example of how you do this in your day-to-day? Or has this been a reason that you loved it? Or is this why you stayed? Starting with their values is a great place to go, and it allows you to start the conversation with something simple and easy. So building a career at E J Gallo, you've heard from Ben, me, Chandler, we've had a lot of different jobs. We got to try a lot of different things. For the past 5 years, we've been named Glassdoor Best Places to Work out of 600,000 large companies in the US. In 2018, we were number 14 of 100 large companies. We're the number 1 in the food and beverage industry. And we're focusing on diversity and inclusion. And as you know, everyone should be, right? We want to bring people from different backgrounds to work with people from other different backgrounds. We want a little bit of everything, and we want everyone's own thoughts, own experiences to be shared through what we do from day to day. And I think that's something that we've been working on. I can't say we're perfect at it, but I can tell you we're getting better every single day. So this is a great article, and from one of the other gallows, it says, he said, hire great people and then invest in them. Listen to them and create a culture and environment for them to thrive. And I can say this is one thing that I feel on a day-to-day, and it's one thing I get from you guys at TCU as well. You guys have people who really care for you in the athletic world, in the academic world, and then setting you up for success with events like this. So I think it's one place where you guys are in a place that has similar values to where we are right now. So I think this is a great thing to look at. And by no means when you leave being a student athlete, do you leave having a team. You leave having a team in a certain way, but you can find a team in a different way. And I think that's one thing that we've all found here. So we talked about this a little bit, diversity and inclusion. We want to make sure that whatever you've come from, whatever you've been through, we are recruiting. We want to hear your story. We want to know who you are. And we want to bring that to our table. So we are open to everything. We want everyone to be a part of our company. We sell wines that, you know, go to different demographics, and we have people that work from us from a lot of different demographics. So we are interested in where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. And with that being said, I'm not done talking to you guys. So I want to walk through where we are and what athletes we have that work for us, and things that we see with people that work in our industry right now and alongside us that we think are really beneficial things to you guys. Maybe if you were ever to work for us, or just you guys in general, if you're looking to work for another company. These things here on the left-hand side: leadership, competitiveness, grit, coachability, humility, and teamwork. A lot of times when I'm talking to student athletes, like, I don't know what to put on my resume. I've only been an athlete. I haven't done anything else. Well, there's 6 bullet points right there, right? There's things that you have done and that you're really good at. And these are things that employers are looking for. So don't ever think, I've just been a student athlete, I have nothing to put on my resume. You have everything to put on your resume. And this is a great starting point. And you know, you guys have done a lot of things that a lot of other student athletes haven't done. You've pushed yourselves in different ways, and the grit that you have, you've been coached your whole life. There's a lot of things that employers are looking for that everyone on this call has. So this is just an example of some student athletes that we've had come through our program. I know we said the 3 of us today on the call happen to all be student athletes. We don't work with all student athletes, but this was just the random 3 of us got, we live here in Dallas and we get to work with TCU, and that's our path. But we do have a lot of other student athletes that work within our company, and they've been very successful. We have people from the crew team, rugby, volleyball, basketball, gymnastics, soccer, softball, basketball, volleyball, ice hockey, cheerleading, and I haven't even added Chandler yet because she just got promoted, and baseball and soccer. So it's not like we're just pulling from one thing. It's just you guys' backgrounds. You guys do really well in a fast-paced, coachable team environment. And I think that's something hopefully we can help you guys get through today. Now I will pass it on.
All right, go ahead, Dev. So now we're kind of going to hop into a little bit of the kind of goal of the presentation and looking at virtual networking. So obviously we're going to go through a little bit of, kind of what it looks like now in the space that we're in with the pandemic that's kind of going on. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that might be lifted here in the next week or so in some capacity. But a lot of networking still historically was done virtually and will continue to be done virtually. So when you're looking at digital or online, obviously you've got all the cliches, right? Instagram and Facebook, email, phone, virtual, Zoom, WebEx, et cetera. And then LinkedIn is probably what we deem as kind of the preferred, just from a professional standpoint, that's where you can include resume and all that stuff, where everyone knows that that's the focal point is business. And then we've got face-to-face listed as a group or event, one-on-one. But again, over the last year, I'm sure everybody on this call can understand that some of those opportunities have dissipated and turned even more virtual, hence, us on this call right now. So from, a digital space, and again, diving in a little bit more in detail with social media and kind of some of the ask and, tendencies, right? One thing that we recommend is Googling yourself. It's a good practice for you to know, what potential employers could be seeing, but also just a good barometer for you to know what's out there about yourself. What's your kind of personal brand for anybody that's out there looking, because employers will look, and it's good for you to kind of understand that you don't have, some crazy pictures out at a party or whatever the case may be. You want it all to be kind of clean cut and professional. Another thing that we recommend is follow the company, right? It gives a good idea of the culture, their values, just their energy and what they're wanting to do. Go ahead and follow them, and that's going to give you good insight into what they're looking for from future candidates. Kind of touched on this already, but keep it clean and professional. Or the idea is just keep it private and make sure that you're maintaining who is actually going to see that content. From a LinkedIn standpoint, obviously keep it updated, all experiences and correct dates, professional headshot, and then include your resume. That's something that's also going to give you a little bit of a leg up when, if somebody's going to click on your profile and you've got that there, it's one less, it's one less thing that you've got to worry about, because they're going to have access to it right then and there. So LinkedIn questions, right? We're going to walk through a little bit of hypotheticals, right? Who should I reach out to? Someone you previously met is going to be ideal. Recruiters or someone you have a connection with already on LinkedIn. Obviously, you've got a little bit of a tie in there, and that's always going to be easier. So if you don't have a connection, try to find someone that can help and connect. And again, it's, sometimes not what you know, it's who you know, and being able to have any sort of recommendation is going to help. How often? Reach out with a purpose, questions, wanting to schedule a phone call or a meeting, saying you are interested in the company. Follow up there is typically once after 2 weeks. But make sure that you're being specific with the questions and wanting to schedule a call, because you're going to have, a small window, and whoever you're reaching out to may have 50, 100 other messages that they're looking at. So making sure that you're concise in what you want to accomplish. And then when you're looking at what you want to put in your profile, briefly summarize your accomplishments. Leadership experience is key. That's something Devin just touched on. And then highlight athletics. It's crazy to think after 5 years of me, playing basketball 5 years ago, that coming into the workforce in corporate America, so many of those things with, balancing school, balancing the 5 a.m. practices, working on a bus, on a flight, et cetera, those things all really do build up to really benefit you in the workplace, because there's going to be times where you have to juggle a lot of things, and it really sets you up for success. So really highlight that, because it is something that'll help you out. So looking and diving in specifically at emails. So clear, concise, direct to the point emails. You don't want to waste the reader's time with fluff. Again, this goes back to being concise in LinkedIn. When you're, replying or, sending a note to somebody, you got to understand that they're going to have so many more people in that inbox. So being as concise as possible just to make sure that your point is resonating and they can get back to you as quick as possible. Obviously, proofread something that you guys, I'm sure, are doing in school, but that's still going to maintain the professionalism when you're sending emails. So make sure you're doing that. Using delay delivery gives you the opportunity to include any missed material or attachments. I've done it before. You send an email, hey, this is attached, and it's not, and you look like a clown. So that will help, making sure that doesn't happen to you. And then make a professional email. Name and a couple numbers at most, but you want that to be concise and again convey professionalism. And then create a professional email signature that might even have a LinkedIn link as well, just to make sure that people can contact you when they need to. So professional networking, I'm kind of going to work backwards and go from right to left here. But when you're looking at cold calling, quick introductions, and then already connected, these are just examples of kind of what the verbiage might look like when you're, kind of working and networking with someone. So a straight up cold call, not having any idea about the person. It's, you want to make sure that you're expressing interest in the company. And notice that, that Kelsey's saying and naming the actual company, E J Gallo Winery. There's a specific 5 to 10 minute ask. And then they list the experiences throughout 22 years at Gallo. When someone's receiving that, it sounds personal. You've given specific details about the 22 years, and the hope is that that's going to draw them in by the interest and time that you've taken to respond in that manner. Going to the left to a quick introduction. Again, you're looking at the virtual career fair last week, right? Again, a specific thing that can jog somebody's memory of when they've met, kind of what happened, what was the kind of context of you all knowing each other. And then you're, again, asking for a specific thing, a virtual coffee this week, giving a timeline of when you'd like to do it. And then again, highlighting what you're looking for, opportunities that your company offers and your experiences. And then looking at already connected, it gets a little bit more casual, but again, you're referencing, the networking event that you met. You're looking at, you're referencing that you're listening, right, at your company's virtual conference. So they know that you're listening and taking time to hear what they're saying, what they've got going on. And then again, it's a connect and grab virtual coffee. Want to hear more about an upcoming acquisition that shows interest in the company itself. And so getting noticed, quick and easy, get out there. Don't be afraid to approach recruiters. We want to meet you. It's the whole, it's the whole game of it all. Everyone wants to meet everybody. We want to see great talent as you want to see great companies. So, get out there. Don't be scared to reach out. Ask questions, right? What makes a successful candidate or hire? It's a great question to ask because that's what we're all trying to do, right? You're looking for what's going to make you successful and, set yourself apart from your peers. And that's something that we've kind of lived throughout years and something that we can answer very easily. Again, use referrals and then have your elevator speech or pitch ready in practice just to kind of dial in on, your strengths, what you think you can really bring to the table. So with that, we're going to go to networking in with the interview with Chandler.
Yeah, thanks, Ben, for passing it over. So obviously the whole point of networking is to build your professional network up and eventually get that interview. So now we've got the interview. Where do we go from here? So we're going to talk a little bit about preparing for the interview. So prepare for those typical questions. These questions should not ever come as a surprise. Some questions may surprise you during an interview. However, you should definitely have these prepared. Another one that is really good to always have kind of an elevator speech about yourself is for when they ask you, tell me about yourself. You don't want to freeze up. You want to have a quick elevator speech. And here in a few slides, we'll kind of talk about how to put something like that together that is specific, tells them exactly what they need to know, points out highlights from your resume, and kind of tells them why you're pursuing this industry. Because obviously, if you're interviewing for their company, they want you to be passionate about the industry. Always research the company before starting the interview. Know the general facts, especially, about the company as a whole, so that you seem educated and well prepared. And then always have questions ready for the interviewer. They don't have to be super, super in-depth, but just show that you are interested and intrigued. And them and the company is always a great look. And then always have specific examples in mind. I know personally, I have a handful of go-to stories that I've told in many interviews of times where I took leadership role, or I was really successful working on a project, or even challenges. You don't just need to have positive stories. Have a few in your back pocket about a situation that was really challenging and how you were able to overcome that and grow from it and turn it into a positive. Those are always great ones as well. And then here are just some basic interview questions. Obviously, we pointed out, tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I'm sure many of you have heard these questions before, but whenever you're preparing for an interview, it's good to go back and ask yourself these and have these answers ready to go, because these typically do come up and you don't want to freeze because you may not have thought about your weaknesses recently or something like that. So definitely be prepared with those questions. Okay, tell me about yourself. The question that is frequently asked in interviews and sometimes warrants a bit of an awkward response. We're here to avoid that. So timing matters. You don't want to freeze up, but you also don't want to go on for 10 minutes. So make it concise. Give them your name, your highlights, why you're interested in the company, and maybe a few, resume point outs. So here are some examples of just a quick elevator pitch to answer that question, get the interview started off on a confident note. A quick answer usually ensures confidence and engagement. And then you can continue on. And then also the recruiter should know the why behind your degree and what you're looking for in the future. So try to include that in your answer as well. And then just in this example alone, this candidate was able to highlight 5 different roles from their resume in just that few short sentences to get the interview going and flowing right off the bat. Next slide. Dress to impress. I know that this probably seems a little elementary. However, there is a difference in business casual versus professional. For an interview, the goal is to be comfortable and confident. Don't wear anything too tight or revealing. Be conscious of the amount of perfume and jewelry you wear, especially if it's an in-person interview, which those will come back at some point. Make sure your hair and your clothing's presentable. Of course, you want to look put together and professional and like you would be a proud employee of their company. And yeah, I would dress similar for networking, of course, professional and put together and ready to go. Virtual interviewing tips. So obviously a lot of things are virtual right now. We've all gotten used to this craziness called Zoom and all of the other apps that come along with it. And interviews are no different right now. So look at the camera, not the screen. Try to get as close to eye contact with them as you can. Dress the part. Prepare for your virtual interview just like you would an in-person interview. Whenever you're dressed up professionally, you usually feel more confident and put together, and that will come across in your body language and mannerisms throughout the interview. And those things definitely do not go unnoticed. Prepare your surroundings. Please be in a quiet place with nothing too crazy going on in the background, so that you're the focus of the screen and you can really engage with the interviewer. Make sure that your profile is professional. If for some reason your video doesn't work and your Zoom photo is you and all your friends, that might not be the best look. And then make sure that your name appears on the application correctly, so that they know who they're interviewing. Practice, practice, practice. I know coming from athletic backgrounds, y'all are all very, very familiar with that term, but practice for your interview just like you would a big game or something important. You've got one shot to impress this person and potentially get this job. And so you always just want to be sure that you're well rehearsed and confident, so it's not thrown together at the last minute or you seem a little scattered. And then close all programs on your computer, silence your phone. Even though it's virtual, we want as few distractions as possible. It's really difficult sometimes to engage, via Zoom. And so just as less distractions as possible to make sure that that time that you're in the interview is as productive as it possibly can be. And with that, we are getting close to wrapping up. Here are some QR codes if you want to engage with us on any of our various social media sites, learn more about the company, check us out. And so we will leave these up for a minute. And with that, I believe I'm going to pass it over to Devin.
All right, you guys. Thanks, Chandler. Thanks, Ben. It's so crazy because, you used to think of network so different than interviews, because networking was, a little bit more casual, and maybe it was at a career fair. You would see a lot of people. And then an interview was a one-on-one thing. But now that we're realizing that so many things with networking right now are one-on-one, because you end up on a networking call with one person now because it's all virtual. So it's kind of, we feel like it's good to go through kind of the interview and the networking together, because if you end up on a networking call one-on-one with a recruiter, in a sense, it is kind of an interview, right? So you should be prepared. It's not going to be a full-blown interview, but you should be a little bit more prepared, even more so now than ever, because if you end up one-on-one, you want to be prepared if it starts going that direction. So hopefully if you're kind of preparing for both, and you're checking your background before a little coffee chat, and you're making sure that the door is shut so there's no background noise, I think you're going to feel a lot more confident when you're doing your little networking calls. So hopefully some of these things, I know one says interviews, one says networking, but it's kind of, in this day and age, kind of all the same. So we felt it was important to go through both today. And Chandler left us here with our social media sites. We have a lot of them, and so do other companies. So when you guys are starting to network, look for their normal page, look for other pages that they have, right? As you're, whatever company you're looking for, they're going to have more than one. They might have clubs with inside. They might have, employee resource groups that you can follow. So you can follow and learn a lot about a company through social media. So take advantage. Those are just 3 we thought of off, the top of our head that are associated with Gallo. So it's a great place when you're before networking. You can look at a few different things. You might see an event they did last weekend, and it gives you something to talk about. So follow us, follow other companies that you're interested in. It helps build those questions. And then as we switch over, we didn't add Chandler to the end because we have Chandler now and she's new and great. And I forgot to add her thing to this last slide, but if you find Ben or I, you'll be able to find Chandler's page as well from our LinkedIn. Those are our codes on the bottom. If you want to connect with us on LinkedIn, we encourage you. We came to this because we want to meet you guys. And even if you're not interested in what we have to offer as the E J Gallo Winery, we still are here to help you and be there for you and help you practice networking. So even if you're not sure that you ever want to work with us in the future, but you want to be able to kind of practice your networking, that's what we're here for. I mean, ask us for a coffee chat. Let's, if you want some feedback during it, we'll definitely give it to you and kind of help you practice. And then up top, that top QR code that doesn't have any background, that is the QR code to send your information to us. So feel free to send your information there, and also shoot us a message on LinkedIn, shoot us a message on, our emails. Terrence has, and if you have any other questions there, you can shoot them. But before we finish up, I'm just going to open it up. If you guys have any questions you want to ask us, we're kind of done with our presentation, but we're more than willing to stay on for a little bit and answer any questions you guys have. You guys are an easy crew. You can also shoot them to the chat if you feel more comfortable doing that as well. All right, Terrence, any other questions you guys have for us, or you want us to walk through?
I think everything was well done, Devin, Ben, and Chandler. I don't have anything else really to add. I think what's said is said. Y'all is really, again, what we say in the Career Center, and McKenna and I, what we say, and just hearing it from an employer is really just so valuable. So thank y'all so much. And McKenna, anything else you'd like to add? Or?
No, just thank you guys so much. I always enjoy this talk, even though we've heard it a few times. It's literally my favorite. But I was gonna add before everyone clicks off too early. Terrence, should I send in that form right now to the chat?
That's totally perfect. Absolutely.
So to get credit for this event, the Horned Frog for Life credit, you're gonna need to fill out this form that I'm gonna quickly send in the chat. It'll take 10 seconds. And then I'll also send the validation code if anyone needs that to also get credit.